Kaizer Chiefs lost to Stellenbosch by 1-0. And we're going to talk about how this actually happened. How this shocking thing happened. How did Kaizer Chiefs, coached by an elite coach like Kevin Johnson, ended up losing a game? Boo-hoo! I'm obviously being sarcastic. Because if you are that type of Kaizer Chiefs fan who's still delusional about the performance of Kaizer Chiefs, Shane, because it's been clear, and I remember saying this last year after the Soweto derby, after Kaizer Chiefs lost that game. I said Johnson is not a good coach for Chiefs. He is too defensive, his mindset is too safe, and because of that, he will not offer us anything going forward. And 118 comments were there. And a lot of those comments were telling me how wrong I was, but we stand here now, 5 months later, and I can say, I told you so. But I'm not here to gloat. I am not here to gloat and tell you how wrong you were, but I'm here to say that let's look at this game as it is and talk about what actually went wrong. And for starters, let's talk about what went right. For once, the coach kept the same starting 11 for 2 games in a row. The question is, did I prefer that starting 11? And the answer is no. I did not prefer certain players to be on that starting 11. And before we even continue about that, let's also talk about the fact that I will not say anything about Zitakunika. I've said a lot about that guy, and I don't want to seem like I have an agenda against him or something. So I'm not going to say anything about him. So it wasn't a preferred starting 11, but it was a starting 11 that was a sort of a continuity, for once, continuity in the club. So that's good. But we start playing the game, because we don't play with formations, we don't play with just Tuguti. Oh, we have good players, so we're going to win. You have to have a strategy. Did we have one? Not really, because it's the same thing that we're always complaining about. Our forwards are too isolated. That's the first thing. They get the ball, they don't know who to pass. And what ends up happening is we pass the ball backwards, we get frustrated. Sometimes you look at the graphics and the graphic says Kaizer Chiefs has 60% ball position. And people will tell you that, oh, Chiefs are playing really well. They are keeping the ball. Where are you keeping the ball? Because that's another thing that I hear a lot of people saying, because football is a game of goals. And if you are not creating goal-scoring chances, then what are you doing? What are you playing well? Because if you are playing well, that means you are getting to the final third. There is the first third, which is closer to your own goals, and then the second one right in midfield, and then the last one in the opponents closer to their goal. Now we play on the first third and the second third. And then when we get there, the team is like, we're marking you, so we pass the ball back. And that happens over and over and over again. And if you don't understand how football is played, you look at that, you see Chiefs having a lot of the ball, and you end up confusing that with dominating a game. You cannot tell me that you're dominating a game just because you're having more of the position. Because if the other team doesn't care about position, they are going to press you when you get to their side of the ground. And then you can keep the ball passing it, and you can even take it home. They don't care. So that is my thing, Uguti. You can have the ball all you want, but if it's not in dangerous areas, then it's pointless. Because if you get to those dangerous areas, you must have people. You must overload those areas. I was sitting with another young man next to me yesterday, and he was saying that, it's funny when I say young man because I'm not old myself. Anyways, he's saying that, oh no, I love Shanti and all of that stuff. I'm like, I want to show you something. I taught him something. I'm like, you're going to look at Stellenbosch. Van Rooyen, Stellenbosch is going forward. He overlaps. On our side, our team, Modi has the ball. Where's Slant? He's just standing still. By the way, I could say the same thing on the right side, but I said I won't say anything about that. So I'm going to smack myself. So, same thing. I show him, I'm like, do you see the difference? When Stellenbosch are attacking on the right, Van Rooyen pushes forward. When Chiefs are attacking on the left, Shanti stays back. Why is that? And even if it does go forward, he can't recover, which then brings the question, why play someone who will not be able to do that for you, right? And when he does go wide to give you width, he's not quick enough to go back. So why are you picking someone who, one, will do the thing of overlapping or giving you width when he feels like it? Or why are you playing him if you know he won't recover? Because it's not like he is forced to overlap. Because what you can do, Akiri, the starting position, Skamodi, when he receives the ball, he's in a half space, or it drifts into half space. He moves from wide, from hugging the line, and then he gets in. So the alternative route of doing things is, instead of making Hlanti go forward, since he can't recover, then make Hlanti play in the inside space, in the half space. Instead of being wide and overlapping, make him be the one who inverts and add numbers into midfield. And instead of our double pivots, Umteto no Mart, Stebe, staying so deep, you can push one of them. And then he will occupy the space that Umodi will usually occupy. And then if you are now pushing one of our double pivots further up the field, and then Uhlanti occupies the space that was occupied by the double pivot, now you have enough numbers on the left side to play combination passes. And then if you that the other player, Umodi, plays the ball back, he can play the ball to Stebe, who has overlapped or underlapped in the sense, because he's inside, gets the ball, he can play the ball inside to Mtu, and now we're closer to a goal scoring, to their goals. But no, it's just like, it's all over. And what ends up happening is sometimes Umtu is the one who's drifting wide. And when he drifts wide, he receives the ball. Our double pivots, they're not close enough to him to kind of collect the ball and try to play the ball into the box. It doesn't happen. If they do get the ball, there were times those Tebe would get the ball and then he has to shoot. He's too slow to get there. And that's a problem. Because it's like they realize later on, oh no, I have to go for it. And when they do realize that, it's too late, because Stellenbosch have now either recovered or now they've sorted themselves out. So that's a problem with the whole system of organizing. And I've talked about this for 7 minutes and 14 seconds, because if Chiefs can just fix that one thing, then the team performs way, way better. And number two is the fact that game management coach is horrible, ne? Because Utuba wasn't having a good game, ne? And he was taken out. Okay, I understand. If a player doesn't perform, you take them out. But I feel like there are double standards, or I wouldn't say double standards. It's more of you are not treating players the same way. Because you have Utuba, who's clearly not performing, you take him out. But Uhlant, even the way the goal came in, it was miscommunication between him and Dove. The ball is played between them. It's a goal. Titus scores. So you're keeping Uhlanti, who's also not contributing anything to the team. But just because he's an older, experienced player, you keep him. So basically, it means with this club, if you're playing bad and you are an older player, you are going to be kept. But if you're a younger player, you are going to be taken out. Now, my question is, obviously, I'm not saying let's cuddle young players and be more patient with them and less patient with the senior players. But I'm saying, if we are to cuddle or nurse feelings, shouldn't we be nursing the feelings of the kids? And maybe take him out on the 60th minute and just give him time to go out and talk. And when you make subs, make 3 subs at once, because you want to make a change. Because I'm a subs there to find a finder. I saw when they took out, who's this guy? When they made the first sub, after they took out Utuba, when they were bringing on the second subs, they were going to take out Umtu Shabalal, but then they changed their mind. And then they took out, I think, Ukunik. And I was like, So now, but they are not sure. They are find about Lalabut as Kipenu Shabalal. He's an easier sub to make. Yet Ushabalal is the one who's usually and was the most lively in that game yesterday, and yet is the one who was the first candidate to be taken out. Just like it was easy to see Ututuba is not playing well, because another player who lost position 26 times, Usubong Senemtetu, he played the entire game. Now saying no, but you could have taken out one of them. Between him and Ustebe, one of them was supposed to come out way earlier than they eventually ended up taking out Ustebe. But no, we're going to keep them. Why? Because they're older players. But mayenga perform umuntu uzomdlaliselana. You understand? So lento leyo ukuthi abanye abadlali bayakhishwa abanye abadlali abakhishwa lento yokuthi uyadliwa and you still make the last sub on the 80th minute lento yokuthi uyadliwa and you finish your game with 4 defenders. How do you play 4 defenders until the end of the game? Just tell me, like how do you play Msimango, Udove, Uhlanti and Ukunik until like the 80th minute, all of them until the 90th minute? Ubakhipha nini? Phela mase udliwa. Big coaches, big teams, they will even sacrifice a defender. They will sacrifice a defender. Or alternatively, if you are not sacrificing a defender, since you have Umteto, not Umteto, since you have Msimango as a tall guy, you push them, go forward, we're going to play crosses into the box, and then you are going to help us with your aerial threat. And in that way, you are going to push the other team back. But when usadlala a flat 4. And to me, it's like, we are for no win a coach, or is it trying to not lose? But then again, the score is 1-0. So what are you trying to not lose? Because Vele, if you consider another goal, it's 2-0. Yes, it does make things worse. But also on the other hand, if you do score a goal, it's now 1-1. Now you can try and find another goal, a winning goal. So to me, the approach ga coach is always disappointing because you really never see any sort of, what can I say? It seems like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's playing finder, and doing that with such a big institution is ridiculous. And the sad thing, well, not the sad thing, well, it is the sad thing for us, Uguti, they're not going to change him. They're going to look stupid. I looked at the club yesterday, at the security guys. There's usually those marshals who are just standing there wearing those, you know, the things that the car guards wear. I don't know what's the name of the thing, but those, yeah, whatever. But then security was doubled. One, they try to control us now. This is what you do. You buy a ticket that says, I want to sit on the other side of the stadium. But when you get to the stadium, they force you to go and sit on one side. Why is that? Because they're trying to make sure now, Guti, we're all contained in one area so that if you try to do something, it's not like people are going to be jumping in the stadium from that side and that side and that side. And then on top of that, there are also other security people who wear suits. You can see Guti, these ones, they don't play, they look like bouncers. So each Chiefs now at this point, they are sticking with Johnson, but they know what it's risky. They know what there is a danger of something bad happening very soon. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want people to start burning stadiums, but the Chiefs have put themselves in this situation where they now have to hire more security in order to prevent people jumping into the stadium. And as it stands, Vele, the Chiefs, they were in a position whereby now we're fighting to stay in the top 8, because the whole talk yesterday before the Stellenbosch game was about, let's try and close the gap on Stellenbosch, but they just opened the gap even wider, which I'm glad it's happening, because if we ended up number 2 on the log, you know what they would have said about Jessica and Abopo? They would have told us, Uguti, it's not that bad, we finished second, and all the struggles we went through, we still, no, kumele siqede number 10 or 12, I don't care. You understand? Because I would rather suffer so much this season and not have to go through the same thing next season. Because if right now, if we end up being in a situation whereby we win the games, let's say we win the remaining games 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, it's gonna look like, oh, the coach finished the season strong. And in him finishing the season strong, yeah, maybe let's reward him with more players, more quality, because I see some people saying, oh, just sign strikers and someone is going to give them the ball. People sound so ignorant, because the way you are saying this, it's as if any single player can solve the problems that are at Kaizer Chiefs. There is not a single player who's going to solve the problems. There is not a strike, because Uranga, uyangena akalitholi ball. Uzojika ublame Uranga uthi we need a more prolific striker. Uranga wote ngalitholi ball. How do you blame someone for not doing their job while their job depends on someone else doing their job? You understand? Umuntu osebenza go Mr. D Food, ne? Angeke alethe ukudla if i-restaurant ingakakwenzi ukudla. Someone has to cook the food and then I have to deliver the food. So if the food is not cooked, what am I going to deliver? So now you're going to say the person who delivers food is bad. Got also deliver in. You understand? So it's the same situation with Ranga. For him to score goals, he needs supply. And people are busy here blaming about Ranga. People are busy here blaming every other player, isolating individual players. That's why I don't want to focus on individual players right now, because the whole system is flawed. And if it's still like that, we're still going to be in huge trouble. And what we need right now is for this season to end and to just hope to the remaining games we lose respectfully, or we draw, or whatever. Because if we win, then that's also another problem. And I know it sounds like I'm anti-Chiefs right now, but but at this point, I would rather get maximum punishment so that the team can learn. Because it's clear that we have not learned enough, because in the past few seasons, because of such poor competition, we've been finishing around the top 4, and it seems like we're doing well. We just need for once to finish outside of the top 8 and not even play MTN8. And this, hopefully, will force the team to make serious and drastic changes. But what did you think of the game, and what do you think should happen going forward? Well, let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, Khosi, I'll pay you more.